Good morning, Internet. Gamer Edition, right? What a silly name. I haven't been able to pick up any of them. I haven't found any of them at my local retailers. But it's gotten me thinking about Cybertronian modes. And I kind of thought about if these Cybertronian modes are really that good. I've been looking through them. And it got me thinking about the War for Cybertron Siege Cybertronian modes. And how weird both of them are in their approaches. And I decided to make a video directly comparing them to see which one really did Cybertronian modes better. Siege is obviously just taking the Earth mode and fucking it up. They're making it look more alien and odd. High Moon designs, however, are really just trying to get a vehicle mode out of a puffier looking G1 design. We're probably getting tired of these Optimus vehicle mode images, so let me just real quick directly compare them and determine which one is better. Okay, so Siege Optimus truck mode, I do really like the main alienistic feature, the two squares above the windshield. They kind of contextualize the fake windshield as just the fact that squares are just a part of his vehicle. However, the wheels just being inside of the truck, that doesn't do much for me, and then aside from that, it doesn't have that many other alienistic features. Headlights sticking out is cool, I guess. Those weird jet thingies on his bumper are cool, I guess. But yeah, I'm not huge on this one. High Moon, this is way more creative, but I've gotta admit, this is kind of ugly. Like the sloped into block sort of shaping outline. I kind of hate how tiny the little fake windshield and the fake grill are. I'm not a fan. Next up, there should be Bumblebee, but there's no Siege Bumblebee. So, Megatron. H-tanks are ugly, but this can be excused as a Cybertronian tank. The feet sticking off the back are a little weird, but I do like the red accents, and the cannon generally looks really nice. And generally, the turret section is also great, too. I wouldn't mistake this for a normal tank, so it's pretty good. With High Moon, we've got this super stylized tank that's essentially just a brick with a gun, but it's an awfully pretty and pleasing brick to look at. I really like the shade of red they went with there, and it's generally very stylized, and I like how sleek it looks for a brick with a gun. Alt mode is a bit cleaner and a bit less bricky in the actual render instead of the toy, but it's still a pretty nothing alt mode, but it's a visually pleasing nothing. I think I'm going to give it to the High Moon design. Next up, Starscream. This is a really chunky new take on the Tetrajet that I really like. It's nowhere near as pointy and doesn't have the same style as the original, but it's really fun. I don't have that much to say on it, honestly. High Moon's alt mode for Starscream doesn't take a hint of inspiration from the Tetrajet, which is interesting considering how iconic the Tetrajet is. But I think it's fine on its own merits. I like the top wing section up there, little, I guess, cockpity thing. It's sleek. It looks like something Starscream would transform into, but yeah, I don't feel very strongly about this. With the win of Siege Starscream, we can move on to Soundwave. He turns into some kind of space barge, and I like the idea, I guess. It's a little funky in how chunky it is, but it fits Soundwave to some degree. It was kind of hard to find a good photo of this alt mode. Kind of sorry about that, but whatever. It's cool looking enough. I think Soundwave as a van is generally a good idea. The grill section, I can't tell if that's cool or really weird. Siege Soundwave has proved himself superior. So let's take a look at an Autobot. It feels like they're taking advantage of how Sideswipe already turns into a very stylized, space-like car and accentuating that. And I really love that with this. I think like the added bulk in the back and how they make the windshield just look more like a black splotch on it. This one's really nice. Now this thing just has some attitude to it, some personality. I hear F-Zero music when I look at this image. I really like both of these, but due to the fact that Siege's Sideswipe is just a little too similar to the Earth mode, I think it's just barely a win for High Moon. Okay, Ironhide, the most boring main character Autobot. I think this is a fine enough Cybertronian alt mode. Couldn't really mistake it for a proper alt mode. Maybe if you really squint. But I don't think it does anything particularly interesting. We get another red brick. This one doesn't have, like, the Ironhide yellow stripe, which I think is odd. I guess that isn't really a negative quality. I really don't have that much to say about this one either, but I think I like it better than the Siege. Let's crank things up a notch. Omega Supreme. Fit G1 Omega Supreme into, like, a Cybertronian mode is so weird. You get a sort of cyber-stylized rocket, but of course the base can't be particularly Cybertronian, and the tank, I suppose, is Cybertronian. It doesn't look like much of anything. This isn't great. The Siege Omega Supreme, I'm very confused by what I'm looking at, but with this, I just don't know what I'm looking at. It's cool enough, I guess. I think it's better than Siege. My nonsensical order, Shockwave should be next. Siege Shockwave turns into this really interesting frigate that it's a nice companion piece to Siege Soundwave, and I like that. It's generally really nice looking. We don't get much like this in Transformers. Now, the Siege Shockwave is kind of turning the Shockwave gun mode into this frigate, this warship, this sci-fi stuff, see it in Star Wars, but this is also turned into another sci-fi vehicle. It feels more like a Star Wars type of speeder deal, which is also super interesting. And now I'm really struggling which one I like more. I think I'm going to just barely give it to this War for Cybertron one. I really like the glowing purple lights on it. Alright, now it's time for some of the more repaint type characters. Ratchet. This is a lot more visually appealing than the Ironhide, but has the same problem of really still just looking like a van, I think it's fine overall, but it doesn't even look that much like an ambulance, and still looks like an Earth vehicle that it's not supposed to be. The framing of the picture I got here makes it look a little more dynamic than the Ironhide, but that's really all I can say about this one. It's still a little bit of an ugly brick. I think the general windshield section is kind of fun, and I guess the colors are a tad bit more appealing, but I don't really care right now, man. I'm going to give it to the Siege. So now, how do the Seekers look in different colors? Fine, I'll make this one quick. Wow, this actually looks really great in blue. The battle damage actually contrasts to this pretty well as well. This looks even better in blue. I'm actually going to have to give it to the High Moon version. And then, here we go with Skywarp. Ooh, this is super pretty. The battle damage doesn't go as well with it, but it's how bright the weird pseudo-cockpit section is on the Tetrajet. Really just works with this shade of black. Yeah, this one doesn't work very well. It blends in too much with the nitty-gritty toned-down color palettes that we go with for most High Moon stuff. And, yeah, not a fan. I'm going to give this one a Siege. So our winners are Siege Optimus, High Moon Megatron, Siege Starscream, Siege Soundwave, High Moon Sideswipe, High Moon Ironhide. What is this thing and why are they calling it Omega Supreme? Siege Soundwave, Siege Ironhide, High Moon Thundercracker, finally, Siege Skywarp. So Siege has just barely scraped by with that win. A beloved toy line just barely beats out two very beloved games. Generally, High Moon gets a lot of points for creativity. Siege gets a lot of points for looking solid. And, I'm ranking these visually, so that's kind of why Siege ended up winning. Alright guys, like and subscribe. I'm out.